We're here at Teesside Autodrome for round 3 of the 2012 Maxxis British Drift Championships. It's the second time we've been here so far this season, and all the cars are ready, everyone's on the track, so let's go drifting.
So today we're going to talk about clipping points. You may have heard in previous rounds us talking about clipping points. That there is a rear clipping point, and what the drivers have to do is get their rear bumper as close to that clipping point as possible to gain maximum points during qualifying from the judges. So as you can see, during transitioning, the driver has to get the rear bumper as close to these clipping points as possible. Again, these clipping points all around the track, front clipping points, front bumper, rear clipping point, the rear bumper. That's a rear clip, and the drivers have got to get the rear bumper as close to that clipping point as possible.
So, into qualifying for the semi-pro class, you'll see Jay White going on the track there. He's first qualifier here at Teesside. Lewis Cracknell in second position, followed by Ricky Emery in third. On to Pro Class qualifying, we've got Mark Lappage from Acorn Motorsport Division coming in at first, followed by James Fuller and Mark Huxley in third. And finally, on to Super Pro qualifying, we've got Shane O'Sullivan coming in at first again from Team Japspeed, followed by Paul Smith from Team Japspeed and Steve Moore from Team Sats in third.
I'm here with Matt Carter from Team Falcon, last year's champion in the Maxxis British Drift Championships. Matt, this is the first time that you've qualified this year. What's happened?
Just had car problems really, electrical issues, misfires, and just been a bit of a nightmare so far.
Yeah, so what's your game plan for today? Because obviously you need to catch up on the points on the table, don't you?
I do. I never really have a game plan, I just drive as I drive, get on people's doors and have some fun.
Yeah, qualifying second, over the moon with it, best result I've ever had in the BDC. Yeah, can only say thanks to everyone that's helped me out and finally getting some payback for all the hours put in.
So you've got an S13 here, tell us a bit about the car.
Yeah, Nissan S13, bought it as a completely standard road car and drove it to work for 2 years. Got a bit carried away somewhere along the line, now running a 4.4 litre BMW V8 engine, all the competition gear, so yeah.
Well, qualified 7th place today. Quite happy with that. It was higher than I was expecting because we're still just testing the car out and putting it through its paces. Still some tweaks needed, but feeling more like I'm gelling with the car now.
Well, talking about tweaks, you've got a Dodge Viper engine in here. Talk us through this.
This was a dream engine from a dream car I had. We had a 2.5 Skyline engine in here before, but what we were looking to do was something different and something without a turbo this time. And for that you need maximum capacity, which this is. It's an 8 litre V10. It was a different road from it go and a completely different engine that you get used to in the car itself. It's an unbelievable thing.
Probably not driving as comfortably as I had at the other 2 events, but just delighted again to be in the running and in the mix, top 16.
So why are you saying you know, you're feeling like you're not driving as well as you used to?
I can put in a good run, but I don't feel I'm as consistent maybe as I was on the other tracks.
Tell me a bit about the car. It's an AE86. I mean, I have fond memories of this car watching Initial D back when I was a kid. Yeah. Where did you get it from and what have you done with it?
Well, the car is actually Eric Sullivan's old car, who's went to Formula D and stuff like that, so it's his old car. It's been very successful for him, built maybe 6 years ago. Since then I've done a few little changes here and there, but F20C 2 litre Honda engine, VTEC S2000 engine with a 6-speed gearbox and just your average suspension parts and stuff like that. Main good thing about it is very lightweight. All the panels, doors, everything is fiberglass.
So go onto the battle for the semi-pro class for 3rd and 4th. We've got Ian Waddington as the lead car against Gaz Taylor as the chase car. So into the first corner they go. We've got Ian Waddington taking the line that the judges wanted to see. Gaz Taylor just struggling to keep up there with a bit of a straight there, using the handbrake just to get the back end out coming into turn 2. The judges will have seen that and marked him down, so it gives Ian Waddington a huge advantage around this into battle 1. So into the last corner they come. A little bit of a straight then again from Gaz Taylor, but not as bad as it was in the first corner. It's going to go down to battle 2 now. So into battle 2, this is where they switch around. So Ian Waddington will become the chase car, Gaz Taylor to set the pace as the lead car. So into the first corner they go. Nice wide angle there from both drivers, taking exactly the same line that the judges wanted to see. Very close coming around the first section. Into the second section they go now, into the slider chicane. So into the last corner they come, very close. Ian Waddington putting a lot of pressure on Gaz Taylor. Gaz Taylor just making a slight straight again there coming into the last corner, and that gives a huge advantage to Ian Waddington, giving him 3rd position. Semi-pro final now, we have got Jay White and Owen Taylor. Looks like Jay White's going to take the lead card. Remember, this is the final, so whoever wins this gets the #1 on that podium for the semi-final of the class. So into the first corner they go. We've got Owen Taylor just slacking behind a little bit as Jay White powers into that first corner. Owen Taylor just needs to catch up a little bit more. He's slightly behind on the transition coming into the last section. Jay White just making a very slight error there as he comes around the last section. Again, a huge straight there again as Owen Taylor manages to keep it together through that last section, giving him a huge advantage into battle 2. So this is where they switch around as normal. Owen Taylor's going to take the lead car. Jay White's going to take the chase car. Into the first corner we go. Massive flick there from Owen Taylor in the V8 powered PS13 Nissan. Very close there for Jay White, but just not taking as wide angle, making a slight error there again as they come into the second section with a straight, using the handbrake to get the back end out, but seems to have held it together and caught him up as they come round the last section. Owen Taylor holding it together all the way around battle 1 and battle 2, and that means Owen Taylor takes the win. Swiftly moving on to the pro class, we've got Mark Huxley against Daryl Barnett in the battle for 3rd and 4th. Mark Huxley is the lead car. First battle now into the first corner. Daryl Barnett holding it together, following Mark Huxley's lines around corner 1. Very close into section 2 we go now as they come round into the chicane section. Daryl Barnett holding it nicely together in that BMW E36 as Mark Huxley's just sliding the car around this last section very nicely. Daryl Barnett getting super close there, but making a slight error going in a little bit too early into that last corner, giving Mark Huxley a bit of an advantage going into battle 2. So this is battle 2, this is where they switch around now. Daryl Barnett's going to take the lead position. Mark Huxley's going to be swiftly behind in the KE70 Corolla. So into the first corner, Mark Huxley taking a bit of a shallower angle there to Daryl Barnett. But as they come into the first corner now, into the chicane, Daryl Barnett making a huge error there, and Mark Huxley just has to keep it together all the way around the last bit of this section to be able to take a massive advantage with the judges in this final. Yeah, he does. He manages to hold it together, and due to holding it together and that spin from Daryl Barnett, Mark Huxley takes the win. Pro class final now. This is what it's all down to. We've got Mark Lappage against Christian Lewis. Mark Lappage in the Acorn Motorsport Division S13, followed by Dory Hero driver Christian Lewis in the Nissan Skyline, and he has spun on the first corner. That is not good at all. Mark Lappage has got a huge advantage now going into battle number 2, as long as he can hold it together around this last section. All he has to do is consistently drift the judges wanted to see them continue the drift, not just drive it, they wanted to see him continue the drift, and he manages to get over the line without spinning, giving Mark Lappage a huge advantage now going into battle number 2. So it's everything to play for Team Dory Hero driver Christian Lewis now, as he takes the lead position going into the first corner. Mark Lappage just needs to keep his cool and drift nice and consistently all the way around it to get that number 1 on that podium. So into the first corner they go, nice and close. Mark Lappage just making a slight error there, but it wasn't as bad as a spin like Christian Lewis did in the first run. Holding it together there, Christian Lewis, putting the pressure on Mark Lappage a little bit. Maybe Mark Lappage is feeling it a little bit, but not as much as Christian Lewis did on the first run when he spun. And into the last section, Mark Lappage holding it together, giving Mark Lappage a podium win here at Teesside for the pro class of the Maxxis British Drift Championship.
Absolutely fantastic. We've got number 1 and we've got...
So, welcome back to part 2, and as you can see, all around me are the super pro drivers and their cars. Now these are some serious machines, so let's see how they get on.
So first of our top 8 battles in the Super Pro class, we've got Simon Perry versus Dan Moorhead from Team WKD Drift Team. So into the first corner we got Simon Perry in the pink Nissan Skyline. Dan Moorhead putting a lot of pressure on Simon Perry as they come into the first corner, looking very close there. That close that they did actually touch, causing Dan to stop and couldn't carry on the drift around the first corner. Simon Perry carried on his drift as normal. If he can hold it together, it'll put him into massive advantage going into battle number 2. Yes, he's managed to get over the line without spinning. Simon Perry's got a huge advantage now going into battle 2. This is where they swap around. Dan Moorhead's going to be the lead car. He's in the Nissan S13 as they go into the first corner. Dan Moorhead putting it nice and easy into the first corner. Simon Perry seems to be quite close as they come round into turn 2. Simon Perry could just be a little bit too close as Dan Moorhead just washes out ever so slightly wide on turn 1, giving another advantage to Simon Perry as they come round the last section now. This is where they're going to shift up a gear into 3rd, maybe 4th, and put the power down and over the line, and due to Simon Perry's awesome driving, that puts him through to the semi-finals. On to the second of our top 8 battles, we've got the 8-litre V10 Viper-powered Nissan S15 of David Waterworth against the 1,000 brake horsepower Team Sats driver Mark Looney in the Supra as the chase car. Into the first corner they go. Mark Looney just needs to close that gap ever so slightly on David Waterworth as they make their way round the last section here at Teesside, holding it together. Both drivers seem to be very consistent as the tyres get shredded on both of these cars over the line. Very close going into battle number 2 now, so they're going to swap round. Mark Looney in the 1,000 brake horsepower Team Sats Supra, sponsored by Maxxis tyres, is going to be the lead car. Into the first corner they go. Nice wide angle there from Mark Looney. David Waterworth seems to be holding it together though. Look at the tyre smoke coming from that Supra as they make their way round into the second section. David Waterworth making a slight error there. Couldn't see where he was going through the smoke, but he seems to be holding it together and catching Mark Looney up a little bit. So into the last section they go. Mark Looney driving absolutely epic. That means Mark Looney will progress into the semi-finals. So on to the next of our top 8 battles for the Super Pro class. We've got Matt Carter in the Team Falcon Nissan S14 against Stephen Bagsy Biagioni in the Team Jap Speed Subaru. Into the first corner they go, looking extremely close coming into the second section now. They're both going to then very closely transition into the last section. Bagsy putting the pressure on Matt Carter as they come round this last section. Matt Carter though straightening up, thinking it was a practice run. He was told that in the top 8 they didn't get a practice run, but just drove the last section, giving a huge advantage to Bagsy. So into the second battle, this is where Bagsy will now become the lead car. Matt Carter has everything to play for after the fault he made in the first battle. So into the first corner they go. Matt Carter is so close on Baggsy now on this Subaru as they come round the first section. Look how close they are as they make their way into the chicane section. Matt Carter is putting a lot of pressure on Stephen Baggsy Biagioni. It's that much pressure that they actually touch. You can see the bonnet just lift up as they make their way around the last section. Baggsy holding it together though, and due to the error of Matt Carter in the first run, Baggsy makes it through to the semi-finals.
Shane O'Sullivan is going to take them
into the last of our top 8 Super Pro battles. We've got Shane O'Sullivan from Team Japspeed against Ashley Stevens in Team SSDA Drift Team. Into the first corner they go, extremely wide there from Shane O'Sullivan, but even wider from Ashley Stevens, causing both of his back wheels to grip on that shale, causing him to straighten ever so slightly. So the judges will mark him down for that, giving Shane O'Sullivan a huge advantage as he's pulling away ever so slightly from Ashley Stevens as they come round the last section now. Shane O'Sullivan just pulling away even more as they make their way round into this last section and over the line, giving Shane O'Sullivan a huge advantage into the next battle. So they're going to switch around now. Ashley Stevens is going to be the lead car, Shane O'Sullivan's going to be the chase car. A little bit of rain there, as you can see, a bit of wet weather, dry conditions, then wet weather, then dry conditions. It's changing ever so slightly all the time, but both very wide. This is the line that the judges wanted to see. Ashley Stevens just putting in a very good run down that first corner. Shane O'Sullivan just catching him up ever so slightly as Ashley Stevens makes an error coming into this last section. You can see him just straight there and then using the handbrake just to get the back end out, but they're coming into the last section now. Shane O'Sullivan with a massive advantage, giving him the win and taking him through to the semi-finals. So there we have our top 4 driver semi-finalists: Simon Perry, Mark Looney, Baggsy and Shane O'Sullivan. So Super Pro Class semi-final battle, we've got Simon Perry versus Mark Looney. Whoever wins this will go into the final, whoever loses this will go into a battle for 3rd and 4th. So into the first corner, looking very close. Mark Looney is all over Simon Perry as they come round the first corner. Looking very close, a little bit wide there for Simon Perry, giving Mark Looney just an easy advantage just to catch him up now on this last section. Putting a lot of pressure on Simon Perry as they come round the last section now. Both very smooth transitioning, but slight errors from Simon Perry there in the first battle will give a huge advantage to Mark Looney coming into battle number 2. So here we've got battle number 2 now. This is where they switch around. Mark Looney's now going to become the lead car. Can Simon Perry get nice and close to Mark Looney? We know he can, but can he do it now? So very, very wide there from Mark Looney. That's the line the judges wanted to see. Very shallow angle there from Simon Perry as he tries to catch Mark Looney up as much as possible. So into the middle section they go. This is where the chicane is with the snappy transition. Going round into the last corner, Simon Perry putting the pressure on, but Mark Looney doesn't seem to be phased, and Mark Looney will progress into the final, but Simon Perry will go for a battle for 3rd and 4th. So here we go, this is the Super Pro final battle. We got Shane O'Sullivan from Team Japspeed against Mark Looney from Team Sats. It is Maxxis tyres versus Maxxis tyres. So into the first corner they go. Shane O'Sullivan running nice and wide there as Mark Looney mirrors everything that Shane O'Sullivan has to offer. Going slightly wide there, coming in a little bit too quick. Mark Looney having to put the brakes on, creating a bit of a gap, but using 1,000 brake horsepower of that 2JZ engine, catches up very easily to Shane O'Sullivan as they go over the line. Very close run. This could come down to the second battle now. So this is where they switch around. This is it now. Everything to play for from both drivers. Looking quite consistent in battle number 1. It's going to come down to this second battle. Mark Looney's going to take the lead car, locking up those rear brakes to get the back end out. Shane O'Sullivan taking slightly wider angle. Again, we wanted to see that from the judges, but Mark Looney smoking up those Maxxis tyres as they come round into the second section. Shane O'Sullivan just needs to catch Mark Looney up as much as possible. Seems very consistent, taking the lines that the judges wanted to see. Mark Looney making a huge error there, coming into the last section, not in the final. This is not what they want to do in the final, and due to that slight error, Shane O'Sullivan. So here we go, battle for 3rd and 4th. This is the Super Pro Class battle for 3rd and 4th. Simon Perry Team Lasser tyres against Stephen Baggsy Biagioni in the Team Japspeed Maxxis Subaru. Into the first corner they go. Stephen Baggsy Biagioni just keeping up with Simon Perry, looking ever so close coming into this first corner. Into the chicane they go. This is where the snappy transition line is, where the rear bumpers just miss the front bumpers as they transition into the last section now. Remember, Baggsy's got that Quaife gearbox, so all it's easy as he shifts up. Simon Perry making a slight error there into that last section, but holding it together. Both drivers seem to be quite consistent now in this battle for third and fourth, but they're going to switch it around now, and this is where it goes down to see who gets that final position as number 3 on the podium. So Baggsy locking up the front wheels as he goes into the first corner. Simon Perry holding it together though, keeping up with Baggsy as they go into the around the first corner into the second section. Is Baggsy pulling away ever slightly there from Simon Perry? You can see on the transition there as he pulls away into the last section. This is very good driving from both drivers here as they make their way into the last section. This is absolutely fantastic driving from Baggsy, giving him that number 3 on the podium. So here we go, this is the Super Pro final battle. We've got Shane O'Sullivan from Team Japspeed against Mark Looney from Team Sats. It is Maxxis tyres versus Maxxis tyres. So into the first corner they go. Shane O'Sullivan running nice and wide there as Mark Looney mirrors everything that Shane O'Sullivan has to offer. Going slightly wide there, coming in a little bit too quick. Mark Looney having to put the brakes on, creating a bit of a gap, but using 1,000 brake horsepower of that 2JZ engine, catches up very easily to Shane O'Sullivan as they go over the line. Very close run. This could come down to the second battle now. So this is where they switch around. This is it now. Everything to play for from both drivers. Looking quite consistent in battle number 1. It's going to come down to this second battle. Mark Looney's going to take the lead car, locking up those rear brakes to get the back end out. Shane O'Sullivan taking a slightly wider angle. Again, we wanted to see that from the judges, but Mark Looney smoking up those Maxxis tyres as they come round into the second section. Shane O'Sullivan just needs to catch Mark Looney up as much as possible. Seems very consistent, taking the lines that the judges wanted to see. Mark Looney making a huge error there, coming into the last section, not in the final. This is not what they want to do in the final. And due to that slight error, Shane O'Sullivan takes the win again, qualifies first and wins again.
Shane, last time we were here at Teesside Autodrome, you qualified first and you came first. This time you qualified first and you've come first again. How does it feel?
I'm absolutely delighted because the last time I was over I had a bad run out, so it was good to finish first again. And back up on top.
And how has the car performed for you over this weekend?
Yeah, it's going top notch, yeah. We've got the new Quaife box in there, so it's a good advantage, like, you know.
Feels brilliant. We've done obviously a lot of development with the car, a lot of learning. We've been out testing this week alone. Qualified first place yesterday and obviously got first place today, so I'm ecstatic, really over the moon.
Can't believe it, to be honest. Yesterday in qualifying I didn't think I was going to do any good. Qualified 10th. Car just kept losing power on the top first corner. But yeah, amazing.
And that is it, here we go, it is the champion.
What a round that we've had today. I mean, we've had some harsh conditions for all the drivers and all the cars. It's been wet, and then it's been dry, it's been wet, and then dry. What do you make of it all, Anthony?
Yeah, weather conditions hasn't really seemed to have made its mind up today. Obviously, the conditions for the drivers in practice, they had dry. Then, as you say, it was wet, then dry, wet, then dry. So the conditions has changed. Even though the drivers kept with the same dry conditions, it made it quite challenging for some of the drivers. But we've been to the second time we've now come to Teesside. We've had the same winner, Shane O'Sullivan from both. That's put him up pretty much to the top. So it's been a pretty good round.
Absolutely, Anthony. And it wasn't just a good result for Japspeed today. Team Rampstyle took the Constructors event. So they're up in the points in the semi-pro division as well.
Yeah, so really good result for Team Rampstyle. It's the first time they've been on the podium for the Team Constructors. So you can see the driving styles getting better and better throughout the season. So that's it, guys. It's either go hard or go home.